Hey guys, happy Thursday once again, and welcome to the Man Cave for live from the Man Cave. We've got brother Jeff hanging out with us down in Orlando tonight, and my wife upstairs, all the way from upstairs.
She
Tanya,
traveled far.
she makes things work though. I couldn't do this the way we do it without her. But man, I'm ready for a bourbon. I've been looking forward to. I I didn't get a bourbon early this week because I had to work an extra shift this week. I had to work Monday night, and I don't normally work Monday night, but Monday being the holiday was one of the two holidays this year I have to work. So I worked an 8 hour shift Monday night, so I didn't have bourbon Monday night. Hey Ryan, glad you can make it with us. Uh, but yeah, I'm ready to pour. And tonight I'm having some of this rare breed. Uh, this is made by Wild Turkey, and it's as far as I know, it's just the barrel proof version of Wild Turkey. I don't know that much more about it. Uh, I don't know what's different. I've got the Russell's Reserve back there too, but this is pretty good. So that's what we're having tonight. If you're having a drink with us, let us know what you're having and where you are in the comments. Smells good. Jeff, what are you having tonight? Let me guess. Let's see. You're probably in Heaven Hill tonight, aren't you? Heaven Hill. There we go. And I know that Tanya is having Cherry Coke Zero.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No. I'm having some coffee.
Oh boy. So
Then I might break into that cherry Coke Zero.
Andrew's got him some high dollar Blantons going on. Well, I won't say high dollar. I don't know what he paid for it. Blanton's here. If you can get your hands on a bottle of it, $69 for Blanton's. Or is it 79? Somewhere along in there. Brian, glad you can make it. Carl, excellent. Carl's having
Well,
Jacks too.
John, there's one that you should always guess as well. Randy's
Oh,
having
hey,
Woodford.
Woodford Reserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right.
I love Randy and his Woodford.
Mhm. Maker's Mark. That's not bad. $50 Canadian, I guess, is about 65 or no, 50 Canadians. That's a pretty good price. That's a really good price. I
It's
think,
about 37
yeah,
US.
that's a really good price for in US dollars. So heck yeah. Maker's Mark is one that uh, I don't keep it on hand here anymore. It's not bad. The only Maker's Mark I have on hand right now has got vanilla beans in it. I used it to make some bourbon vanilla. Uh, I've got bourbon and vodka vanilla here, and I can't remember the name of the vodka that I bought, but it's the vodka that Buffalo Trace produces. It's their brand of vodka, and I bought a whole bottle of that, and it's got 25 vanilla beans in it. And man, it's amazing because it's been in there over a year now. It's really good, and I've got enough vanilla to last for a really long time because I made several pints or several 350 ml bottles and several 750 ml bottles. Yeah, Randy loves the Woodford. That's fine.
Yeah. And
I'm
I just
working
love
on.
his consistency. I
Yeah,
mean, I
and
just
see,
love it because it's
I want to get
always
to
that. And
that.
I
My
think that's
problem
awesome.
is, behind me back here, I've got a stuff that I've got a collection, and I've made myself a promise that I will not buy another bottle of anything until I empty it, until I get rid of at least 10 of these bottles back here. And since I made that commitment, I think I've only gotten rid of two or three bottles, and I don't have. It's going to take me a little while because I currently don't have anything else back there that's less than half full. This is this is the least full bottle I've got back there. So it's going to take me a little while to get 10 bottles emptied out because I don't drink but once or twice a week. So we'll see. I'm going to sit down and make my list of what is going to be my standards here. And I would ultimately like to get down to 10 bottles where that's all I've got. Anthony, I don't know. When it's above zero, it's a good bottle. When there's something in there, it's a good bottle. So,
Look at
excellent.
Sam. Sam was
Yeah.
really offering to help you out here, babe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the consummate volunteer.
I finished off the E.H. Taylor last week. That bottle's gone, and I doubt I'll ever see another one. E.H. Taylor's not easy to come by here in North Carolina, not at all. Most of the Buffalo Trace stuff's not easy to come by here in North Carolina. I actually, for a while, I was seeing Eagle Rare more frequently than I was seeing Buffalo Trace. But I won't buy Buffalo Trace. I don't like it well enough to worry about it. And
No.
honestly, I don't like Blanton's well enough to buy it either. But there's quite a few others from Buffalo Trace that I do really like. I love the Eagle Rare, but I also love the now the name of it's escaping me. It's the bottled in bond version that comes on the comes from the same grain bill as the Blantons. It's escaping me at the moment. I've had a bottle or two of it. Anyway, my mind's gone.
It's
So,
Thursday.
As you get older, that's more frequent.
cheers. I got irritated the other day when Honorog showed me that picture from a Costco out in San Diego where they had like 2 pallets of Heaven Hill bottled in bond, and it's $12 a bottle less than I can buy it here. And I can't buy it here regularly. I haven't been back down to the liquor store lately, so I don't know if they have any more, but I did buy a second bottle of that. So I have a partial bottle and a full bottle.
It's interesting. Not all Costco's had that because none of mine around here had it.
Well, one of the things I've seen from Honorog out there in San Diego, he's got access to about anything he wants, and it's always less expensive than it is here. And it just blows me away at how that works. You know, stuff that's on allocation here that you can't get is on pallets in Costco in California. That I don't understand that. I know you can't. Well, in North Carolina, you can't buy alcohol anywhere but a designated ABC store. They're all state operated, and that's part of the problem in North Carolina is there's no competition. There's all of the alcohol sales above a certain percentage by volume are controlled by the state, and I don't think these distributors enjoy doing business with the state of North Carolina. So all the great stuff's going to other states for whatever the reason. But anyway, enough about that. Tanya, we'll bring you back here in just a bit. Okay. So Jeff and I are doing our sandwich head to head tonight. Finally, after a couple of weeks, we this one got delayed because we had Smobot on, and then Jeff was on the road running from the hurricane last week, right?
Well, it wasn't the hurricane, but I was on the road.
Yeah. So, what kind of sandwich did you make for us?
I made a pastrami sandwich.
Pastrami.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell us about this.
That's brisket flat, corned beef brisket flat. Put mustard on as a binder, and then took a quarter cup of black peppercorns and a quarter cup of coriander and put that in the spice mill and ground it up a little bit. covered it up real good.
That's about what I like to put on mine, but I go about equal parts of
Yeah.
black pepper, coriander, and garlic.
Oh, okay.
That's what I typically like to run on mine. But the two staples of pastrami are black pepper and coriander.
Yep.
Anything else that goes on there, it's one of these situations where you can put whatever you want in it. But I think those two pieces need to be the star of the show. So
Absolutely.
did you cure this one, or did you get one of the ones that's already cured?
No, I got one of the ones that was already cured. I was lazy.
So you put it in the bark.
Oh yeah.
What were you?
Gotta put it in
Oh,
the bark.
did you have to desalinate that one?
No, I did
You
not.
did.
No.
I'm
This one I
curious,
got at Sam's, and it was fantastic, John.
I'm curious about that because I've only had experience with the the pre-cured corned beef flats
Mm-hmm.
twice, and both times I bought that Lobel's brand,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to desalinate both of them. The first one I didn't desalinate, and I couldn't eat it. It was
Yeah.
so salty I couldn't eat it. The second one I desalinated, and it was fine. And to desalinate that thing, I basically just put it in a bucket of ice water, and I changed out the water 2 or 3 times over an 8-hour period, and that got enough of the salt off of it and out of it that it was okay when I
Well,
smoked it. But
this one had me concerned because on the package it didn't say anything about desalinating it, and I've always, had to do that too. And I'm going, are we sure we don't have to do this? So I just ran my finger across it, tasted it, and it wasn't real salty. I said,
right,
okay, we'll let it go
so
and see what happens.
you got that at Sam's?
Yeah,
Did it have a
I'm,
brand name?
John, I don't remember. I'm going back tomorrow to see if they have any more because typically they haven't had them.
I don't
And
recall seeing
this one
these
here
at
is
Sam's in my
fantastic.
area. Yeah. So I'm out of pastrami. I don't have any in the freezer, so I might pick up a piece of brisket and make some sometime soon. But my process. I do that 7-day dry. Well, it's not
Yep.
a dry brine really. I make my curing seasoning and put it on there and put it in a vacuum seal bag and let it go in the fridge for 7 days. And I'm using kind of the equilibrium process where it doesn't have to be desalinated. So maybe when I do that, maybe I'll do that again here soon and redocument it. But so how hot are you running the bark here?
You would ask me that question. I think I was running about 300.
300.
Yeah.
And this is probably close to done time right here, I'm
Yep.
guessing.
Yep.
And what were you shooting for a target temperature in it?
Uh, Shooting for right around 190.
Yeah, that's about right. I do mine between 190 and 195 because
Mm-hmm.
this is not something I don't need it to be fall apart tender.
No,
So
you want to be able to slice it.
right. Well, I chill mine before I slice anyway.
Yeah,
Do you do that?
absolutely. Yeah.
When mine comes
Pastrami is
off,
always better the second day.
yeah, I wrap it up tight in foil after it's gotten back down cool enough, and I let it chill overnight in the refrigerator. And then I'll slice some of it, or I'll section it off and freeze bits of it. So I guess this will be the last picture during the cook.
Yep,
So it looks to me like you're looking at this with your fireboard tonight.
that's correct.
Yep. Did you run the fireboard ambient probe as well?
No,
No, just the temperature, just the meat
no,
thermometer.
there's no reason to. I've run that on the bark, and you
Right.
and I've had that discussion,
Yeah.
and
The
I'm
bark
within
is
10
on the money.
degrees.
The
Yeah,
bark's on the money. It is. It really is.
so I don't worry about it.
And
10 degrees either way is not going to kill much cook.
remind me when we get done, and I'll tell the story about the problem I had with my camp chef last week. The temperature problem I had.
That is an interesting story.
Yeah. So here's the done. This is chilled already.
Yep.
Yep. And that crust on there looks great, man. The coriander and the black pepper. I like my coriander to be a coarse grind, and I
Hmm.
typically do it in my mortar and pestle. and get a nice coarse grind. I don't have a great spice grinder. Uh, the best thing I have for grinding spice right now is that Man Kitchen pepper mill, and I can put coriander in that and grind it and get a fairly coarse grind. But I can get an even coarser grind if I do it with the mortar and pestle.
I
So
just use my coffee grinder and
yeah,
tap it a couple times, and it's ready to go.
this looks perfect. That's got a perfect color to it.
Actually that was probably the best pastrami that I've made, and I attribute it to that particular corned beef that I got from Sam's. It really was off the hook. I mean, I would put that pastrami up against any New York deli pastrami, and I dare you to tell the difference.
Well, I'm gonna have to see if I can get my hands on it because I'm not gonna buy any more of that Low Bell stuff, and I don't know. I would be willing to try this if I can find it at my Sam's. I'll look next time Tanya and I are down there if I think about it. But
Well, I'm going tomorrow. I say it's typically I haven't seen it at Sam's, and I just happened to be looking. I go, oh,
yeah, well, it's
I need some
just so
pastrami.
easy for me. It's just so easy for me to cure it myself. I've never really spent much time looking at these, but there's a couple of grocery stores around here that sell that Low Bells, but it's like $8 or $9 a pound to buy those.
I
So I
forget
think,
what this was. I think I paid $19 for that piece of meat there.
you remember how much it weighed going in?
I'm gonna say it weighed close to 4 pounds.
Oh, that's not bad. That's
No,
not bad at all. So there it is, all sliced up.
yeah, I didn't use the meat slicer on it. That
I
knife is too
yeah.
small. That knife is perfect, buddy.
After watching Myron Mixon with his electric slicer, I'm toying with that idea because those things are not expensive.
No, and the one that he's got is really it's a very interesting one.
Yeah,
I've never seen one like that, but I'll tell you what, that thing cuts like butter.
I've got a new slicing knife. I haven't really shown it, but I bought that Victorinox 12-inch serrated slicer that I actually used it on the bread for my sandwich, but we'll get to that in a minute. So here's your finished product. Tell me about the
Yeah,
sandwich.
I got some nice New York style rye, put mayonnaise on it, and steamed my pastrami and threw some provolone on it, and then a garlic pickle slice, and God, it was good.
Let's see. Okay, you had a New York rye with caraway seed.
Yep,
Has it got caraway?
yep,
Mayonnaise,
yep.
provolone.
Provolone. Oh, and a spicy brown mustard. Got to have some
I
brown
was going to
mustard.
ask because it looks like I saw some mustard seed in there
Yeah, spicy
in the
brown mustard.
sandwich. I like is it a whole grain mustard?
Yes.
Oh, but that's good. Did you need to put any pickle on the sandwich?
No.
What's
You don't
wrong
put
with you, Jeff?
you don't put pickle on pastrami sandwich. You eat the pickle by
You
itself.
most certainly can.
Oh, well, you can put anything on it. I mean, if you want to put peanut butter on it, you can knock your socks off.
Nah, I would put peanut butter on it.
Well, let me tell you what, though, that pastrami, that whole pastrami there only lasted 2 days. I gave my son-in-law and grandson some, and
Did you
they,
toast the
they stuck
sandwich, or did you grill the sandwich, or toast the
Oh,
bread?
absolutely toasted it. Got to have toasted it.
I'd be all over that.
I'll tell you what, and I'm serious, John, when I say that, I would put that pastrami up against any New York deli pastrami, and you'd be hard pressed to tell the difference.
Looking at that sandwich, it reminds me of the first time I was in New York City as a kid. We took a family vacation up there one time when I don't know, I was in high school. I think I was maybe a freshman. I was a freshman in high school, maybe. So I was 14 and 14 or 15 years old. And when we got to New York City that day, there was a Jewish deli across the street from the hotel we were staying in. And I cannot remember to save my life which deli it was, but my dad was already familiar with it. And I don't know if it was Katz. I don't know because I just don't remember. But my dad was telling me about this place on the flight up there. He says, I'm going to take you to this Jewish deli that'll blow your mind. The sandwiches there are crazy. And it was just like a block away and across the street from the hotel we stayed in. And we went over there for lunch that day. And the sandwich, he said, he says, we're going to split sandwiches. He says, there's no way you can eat a whole one. And
no, absolutely.
it's like a whole sandwich. A whole sandwich is going to have a pound of meat on it or better at some of these Jewish delis up there. And he says, we'll pick a sandwich out and we'll split it. He says, because you won't. He says you'll be doing good to eat half of one of these.
And he was right. I mean, those sandwiches are huge.
And I can't remember which sandwich I had. I know I did not get a Reuben because it was later in life for me until I realized that I could like sauerkraut. So I don't remember. I think my dad and I split a ham and cheese sandwich of some sort that was I just don't remember. I know I didn't eat a Reuben because I was not refined enough to have tried a Reuben at this point in my life. I didn't think I liked sauerkraut. It took me a while to develop a taste for sauerkraut. And now I love it, especially if it's got caraway seeds in it. And my sauerkraut needs that caraway flavor for some reason or other. I'm not a big fan of it without it. And I've actually tried making sauerkraut from scratch. The first time was a huge failure, and the second time it came out pretty good. I got an infection in it the first time I made it, and it was horrible. The smell of it would knock you down. And but the second time I mitigated that and came up with a really good sauerkraut. But this is the only thing I see about that sandwich that would make me love it even more is if it had a big blob of kraut on it. And turn it into something closer to
then it'd be a Reuben.
Yeah. Well,
when I was thinking about what sandwich to do, I actually the pastrami was my fourth choice. My first choice was going to do a Monte Cristo, but to do a real Monte Cristo, it's dipped in pancake batter and deep fried, and I didn't want to go through that. Well, then I was thinking of a Cuban sandwich. Nothing better than a good Cuban sandwich.
Those are two of my favorite types of sandwiches.
Right. Mine too. Then I was thinking of.
I've never deep fried a Monte Cristo. I've always grilled mine on the griddle.
No, that's the real way to do it is with pancake batter. Then I was thinking of a Reuben, and then my son said, "Dad, we haven't had pastrami in a while." I said, pastrami it is.
Well, the Monte Cristo, the Monte Cristos that I've made are closer to a French toast setup done on a griddle than dipping them in a pancake batter and deep frying them. But
a true Monte Cristo is 3 slices of bread, though.
Right, but
you got the turkey on one side and the ham on the other side, and it's dipped in pancake batter and it's deep fried.
But man, I love a Cuban. And Stephen Hickey, I don't know if he's with us tonight, but Stephen just got back from a cruise, and I think he was down in Key West and Cozumel, and I think he had several Cubans along the way, and
yes, he did
along the way back, and they look really good. But the Cuban is one of my favorite sandwiches. I remember Tanya and I went to Washington D.C. quite a while back on a vacation, and we went to some Cuban restaurant in D.C. I don't remember the name of it, but I remember it was Cuban. And I said, well, I'm going to have a Cuban sandwich if they've got it. And they did. And to this day, that was the best Cuban sandwich I've had in my entire life, was at a Cuban restaurant in Washington, D.C. And I can't remember the name of that restaurant either. But
well, John, if you're still doing your trip to the Keys in December, I'm going to set you up with a restaurant in West Palm Beach. It's called Havana's. And it's a Cuban restaurant, and the Cuban sandwich is out of this world. So I was going to do the Cuban and do it on my grill grates and get some nice, beautiful lines on it.
Right.
But we went ahead and went with the pastrami.
Yeah. Let's see here. This one you sent me is like a little video clip here.
Yeah, it's if you look closely, you can see the steam. Maybe not on this one. On my picture, you can see the steam coming off of the sandwich. I mean, that just makes your mouth water. Yeah, there it is, right there.
Yeah, that.
And
But having the pickle on the plate, and I like your plate architecture there, where you've made it tall. That's good practice. That looks good, and the melted provolone on there, it just looks crazy. I would destroy a sandwich like that, Jeff. That looks good. The mustard and pastrami and provolone, how can you go wrong there?
you can't.
How can you go wrong? So
If you don't like that sandwich, you're un-American. I'm just going to tell you. I'm just going to put it out there.
yeah, that looks amazing. I think you did an awesome job with that
Thank you.
sandwich. That's impressive. So let's see. Dave said he's from Miami. The real key is the pork and the Cuban bread.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Good Cuban bread will either make it
David,
or break it.
David is a real. The pork, I agree with you on that. The pork is key, but is a real Cuban sandwich made with the pork that's done with the mojo?
No.
I don't know. There's a
No.
Cuban style pork that's marinated or in the mojo. That's
Right, that's more of a pulled pork.
the sour orange, or
Right.
And I've tried to make this pork before, and I haven't been 100% successful with making the pork with that flavor profile. But I've run across a couple of restaurants that are serving a Cuban sandwich where the pork has that mojo flavor, and I don't know if it's a sauce they're adding, or I don't know if they're marinating their pork in that, or if they're marinating their cooked pork in it, or if they're adding some sort of mojo sauce to the sandwich. I don't know how it's going, but I've had a handful of them where I can get that citrus flavor on the back end of that sandwich, and it's pretty good, but it's spotty as to where I get it. I don't get it every time I get a Cuban sandwich.
So Brian, if you're going down to West Palm Beach, that's right off of 95 on Forest Hill Boulevard. You go east and go over to about 2 blocks, and it's right there. They're open 24 hours a day. They have a window that does nothing but Cuban sandwiches and whatnot. This place is great, Cuban food.
Sam's comment there is important also. You got to have fries with that sandwich. It's just the thing. And the second best Cuban sandwich I've ever had is at a brew pub in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, called Foothills Brewing. That's about an hour and a half or an hour and 20 minutes east of here. So the mojo's not what they typically do.
No.
Okay. Well, I was just curious. Pork using Cubans is with no mojo. Okay. But this is something, Jeff, I want to work on. I want to play with that some in the coming months. I want to do a mojo pork. I can't find the mojo sauce around here. I'm going to have to look for that.
I've got it all over the place here.
Yeah,
Any
I know
brand
you
you want.
would. I know you would down there, but when I've done mine here, I have to use this sour orange, and I can't remember what it's called. I'll have to look it up. But
Well, you use regular orange and then add a
lime.
one lime and 1 lemon to it, and it'll make it sour.
Right. So, well, anyway, guys, my sandwich, I fell back to something that I've done before, but I totally changed up how I make the sandwich with it. I wanted to do, Jeff, what's the name of that restaurant? Sam's asking.
It's Havana's.
Havana's. Okay. So I wanted to do smoked chicken salad because that's something I really like. And here's my sandwich. I ruined it. That this is my first attempt at it, and I made a mess, and I had to start over again. I wanted to show you guys my blooper here because I'm not perfect. I screw things up just like the next guy does. But I bought a loaf of sliced sourdough bread at one of the local grocery stores. I said, well, I'll try this on sourdough and see how it goes. Well, this sourdough was a little dry, And when I laid that thing on my griddle to toast one side of it, when I tried to get my spatula under it to flip it, it fell apart, made a mess. And I had to stop right here and I had to start over again on the sandwich process. So there's a blooper for you in case you've never seen a blooper. But anyway, I got a I think this was a 4.5 pound chicken, and I just seasoned it. I did something I wouldn't normally do here. I used some lemon pepper on this because I'm thinking a summertime chicken salad, something with a little bit of vibrancy to it. So I wanted to give the chicken a little bit of zest. So I used lemon pepper on it. And I put this guy, I actually cooked on the bark as well, Jeff. I hadn't fired up my bark lately, so I ran it for this cook.
Show it
And
some love.
yeah, I did this cook low to begin with. I ran it at 250 degrees so I could run it longer because I wanted to impart a noticeable smoke to this chicken. I didn't want as light of a smoke profile here as I would normally get. So I started it out at 200, and when I got or 250, and when I got the internal temperature of the meat up to about 140, I ran the temp in the bark up to 400 to finish it off. And this is shortly before I pulled it off the grill. I browned everything up nicely on the outside and got the skin with a texture that I was going to be able to deal with. And then I pulled it off. I covered it up with foil and let it rest for, I let this one rest for an hour because uh, since I'm not serving chicken or serving pieces of chicken, I needed this guy to cool down enough where I could break it into pieces. And my objective here was just to pull all the meat off the bone. I pulled the light meat, the dark meat, and the skin. I took it all off and I put it into a pile. And here's where I made a mistake. I forgot to take a picture on my cutting board of me working this chicken. But I pulled it all apart, dumped it out on my cutting board, and I've got two of those, I've got two cleavers, not the Kai uh, cleavers, and I just took two cleavers and started chopping that chicken and skin up. And here's what I ended up with: just chopped chicken, and I tossed it in the refrigerator to let it chill. And once my chicken was chilled, I got all the ingredients together that I was going to use to make my dressing for the chicken salad, which the primary pieces of this dressing are the mayonnaise, the sour cream, and the whole grain mustard. Uh, what else I've got here on this cutting board is some fresh parsley. I have dried rosemary because I don't have any fresh at the moment. I got fresh thyme though. I've got fresh cayenne peppers off my cayenne peppers plant. I've got a shallot. I've got a couple of ribs of celery. I've got some salt and pepper there. And on my next slide here, I've got a breakdown. This is my mise en place for everything that went into this dressing. I've got, starting down here in the lower right, I've got the mayonnaise, the sour cream, salt, pepper, shallot, celery, thyme. I've got here some diced red pepper. I decided that I wanted to add something to my chicken salad that would give it a little bit of color. And I've got the diced fresh cayenne pepper there, the whole grain mustard, the chopped parsley, and then that dried rosemary. So this is everything that's going into my dressing. So what's on my next slide? I took the mayonnaise, the sour cream, the mustard, the cayenne pepper, the salt, and the pepper to start with, and put it in my little mixing bowl and stirred all that together. And then I added the parsley, the rosemary, and the thyme and stirred that all up. And then I put the red pepper, the shallot, and the celery in with my chicken, stirred that up just like that. And there's no rhyme or reason to what I've done here. I could have collectively just thrown it all in the bowl and mixed it all up and then come out with my chicken salad. Uh, so That's my chicken salad. I took it out of this stainless steel bowl and I put it in a plastic container, put it in my refrigerator, and let it sit. I wanted this to have at least 24 hours before I did anything with it because of the flavors that are building there. I wanted that to get time to meld and get time for, especially for that cayenne to work its way in. So the next day, I got another red bell pepper, and I bought one of these orange bell peppers. They had bell peppers on sale at the grocery store last week. They were really inexpensive comparatively. Tanya, those were on sale for what? They were four for three for $4 or four for $5. The four for $5, they were a buck and a quarter a piece, I guess, which is a lot cheaper than I'm normally able to buy these peppers. They're quite these guys around here are normally $2 a piece. They're expensive here for some reason, but out here on my Camp Chef pellet grill on my sidekick table here, that's what this is it's got that 30,000 BTU burner. I fired that burner up and I started roasting these peppers. And what you do here is you just put them over a flame and you keep them moving. You turn them and you want to char the outside of that skin till they're black. So I just kept turning this thing until it's completely black, like you see here. And I did the same thing with the orange one. And when I've got both of those charred up like that, you put them in a paper bag and close the bag up and you let them steam in there. They steam inside this bag for at least 10 minutes or so. And when that's had time to do that, you take them out of the bag and you could just take a paper towel and wipe the skin off. Now, normally you can wipe all of this off. I was very loose with this because I wanted to keep just a little bit of that char on the outside of my pepper.
Mhm.
I didn't want to wipe it all off. And you have to be careful because it wants to come off at this point. You can take a paper towel and wipe that completely clean where there's no black left if you want to. But for what I was doing, I wanted to keep some of that because I think a little bit of that was going to be a flavor bonus in what I was doing. So after I took most of the skin off, I took them apart and sliced them. This would be a loose julienne cut, I guess. So I just sliced those up like you see here and set them aside. Now, since my sourdough bread project didn't work, hang on. I had this other bread that I bought. I bought this not I didn't think that my sourdough was going to fail. I just bought two different kinds of bread because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I'm glad I bought this. This bread, I can't remember if this is called French bread or Italian bread or what. This loaf comes in a 2-pack in a paper bag, and this is the kind that you're supposed to bring home, put it in the oven at 350 for about 5 minutes to finish it off. Jeff, have you seen these like this
Yep.
before? Okay, that's what this is. This is one of those ones that you put the final brown on it or whatever before you're ready to use it. So I did that, and I had already done that before I took this picture. But I took my slicer, sliced that guy lengthwise down the middle. Looks like it's going to be a pretty decent setup. So at this point, I smeared mayonnaise on the cut side of this bread, and then I grated on some parm, some Parmesan cheese to it, and then I had my Weber Spirit EVH 5150 fired up. So that was going to be my cooking tool for this. And on that, I took the Kamado Joe Half Moon cast iron griddle and flipped the rib side up so I could get some grill marks. And my target here is a panini. That's what I'm shooting for here. So I put the cut side of that down where the mayonnaise and the Parmesan cheese was on the downside. And I took one, I've still got my oven bricks, Jeff, that I had with the Alpha oven.
Mm-hmm.
I took one of those guys and I wrapped it up in foil and used that as my press to press that and make sure I've got contact, because I want to put some grill marks and some toasting on the split side of this bread before I build my sandwich. So here's what I ended up with, and I was very happy with how that came out. That looks good, and it's going to bring the flavor that I'm looking for on this sandwich. So from here, I loaded up one side of that with some of my chicken salad. And then I alternated the red and the orange roasted red peppers on there. And then I've got some gorgonzola. I found some gorgonzola on sale, actually. I got a block of gorgonzola for $1.99 on clearance, and it's normally like $6 or $7.
Mm-hmm.
And so I crumbled some of that and sprinkled that crumbled gorgonzola on top of all that. And it's hard to see here, but I put a little bit more fresh cracked black pepper on top of that. And then I put the top back on the sandwich. And then I took it back to my griddle and put this top side down on the Kamado Joe griddle. And then I set my brick back on it. And I let that guy toast until I had some nice looking grill marks on top. And then I flipped it and did the same thing to put the same amount of toasting on the bottom. And during this process, I'm also heating that sandwich all the way through, where that chicken salad that's been in the refrigerator is warming up, and my gorgonzola is getting nice and soft and really fragrant here. You could smell the gorgonzola while this guy was on the grill. So when I'm done with it, I pulled it off. And here's kind of a lengthwise view. And I just decided to slice this guy right down the middle and turn that into 2 sandwiches. And this is my last picture, but I just wanted to say that this was one of the best sandwiches I've ever had. I'm putting this in the top 3 of the sandwiches I had. And one of the things that really, for me, set this sandwich apart, and this is something I've never done before. I've made a lot of smoked chicken salad. I've done that I don't know how many times, but those sliced up fresh cayenne peppers in this brought an element to this sandwich that was crazy. It was, I'm not going to call it hot, but when I was eating the first half of this sandwich, after I had eaten about half of it, I could feel in the back of my throat that cayenne. That cayenne was waking up, and I could feel the afterburn. And it was not overly spicy. I didn't put enough in there to make it hot, but I could feel that cayenne pepper. And the sandwich, the bread had a beautiful crunch to it from putting it on the grill like I did. And I took the other half of this sandwich, I put it in a Ziploc bag, put it in the refrigerator, and I ate it for lunch the next day. I heated my oven up to 300 degrees, and I put that other half of the sandwich back in the oven for about 8 minutes to warm it back through, and it was almost as good as the first sandwich was the first day. So I was totally stoked with how that sandwich came out. And I'm sitting here, Jeff, asking myself, how much work are you willing to put into a sandwich?
As much as you need to.
But
That was a great looking sandwich, John. But I'm telling you, you have to try what I told you.
try the refresh
Publix fried chicken.
Oh, the Publix fried chicken.
I'm telling you, man, the crunch of that breading
Okay,
in a
guys,
sandwich.
what Jeff told me is Kathy's done this, right?
Yeah, she's the one who discovered this.
Jeff's wife bought a Publix fried chicken. I'm guessing it's a whole chicken.
Well, no, it's pieces. They don't
Okay,
do a whole thing, but
so
it's a whole chicken that's cut up and fried.
Kathy stripped the meat and the breading off of fried chicken, chopped all that up, breading and everything, and made chicken salad out of that. So yeah, that's something I might be willing to try at some point. I
That
like
crunch
fried
of that
chicken.
breading. Oh
Yeah,
man,
but this is one of the best sandwiches I've ever made, and I'm glad we did this challenge. And it took me a while to decide that I wanted to do chicken salad again because I didn't want to do something that I've done so many times, but I wanted to do the chicken salad and prepare the sandwich differently because normally what I do is I normally do not put cayenne pepper in my chicken salad. That's the only thing about the chicken salad recipe, my chicken salad recipe that I changed this time is since I've got fresh cayenne peppers coming in, I'm going to use some of it. I was going to use habanero, and I'm glad I didn't because the cayenne worked out
that
perfectly.
yeah, habanero I think
Yeah.
would have been overpowering. It would have taken away from the
Well, I
sandwich.
wouldn't have used as much if I'd have used habanero, and I would have probably run the habanero through the microplane grater to really get a
Yeah,
fine mince on that. And I wouldn't have used as much of it, but the cayenne flavor worked really well with the chicken and everything else that I had going on there. So
yeah.
I
Look at
was
Ryan's comment.
fried chicken salad. I've not had it, Ryan.
I'm
So
telling you, buddy, it is
I'm
off
gonna
the
have to
hook.
try it. I make more chicken salad than I can eat, and I gave Tanya's parents some of it, and I don't expect that they liked it. Let me get Tanya back up in here and see if Tanya, have you gotten any feedback from your parents of whether they like that chicken salad or not?
Jiggly liked the chicken salad,
Yeah,
but Nana Juju said it was too spicy.
right. I knew that that was going to be the case. I didn't know if either one of them would like it, but I know Tanya's mom doesn't like anything that's spicy. And guys,
Neither does
this is
Kathy. She can't handle it.
yeah, this is not. I didn't want to call that spicy. I wanted to call it an. I don't know how to explain it, Jeff. It's an aftertaste. It's
Hmm.
a spicy aftertaste that's lingering after you've eaten it.
Yeah.
It's not.
You,
It's not
you don't
that
get it while
hot.
you're eating it. You get it afterwards. You go,
Well, I
Yeah.
got it before I finished the sandwich, but
oh yeah.
it was one of those things that lingered around. But I was asking Tanya, and I told Tanya about that, and she said my mom might not like it. She says, but my dad will love it, and I guess that's how it
Right.
panned out. So
Yep.
okay,
That is too.
That was a fine looking chicken salad sandwich, and I like the fact that you use those turbo trussers. I'll tell you what,
yeah,
for you guys who haven't used those, that's the best thing to sliced bread.
I like the turbo trusser.
Absolutely.
I've got four of them, and
Uh,
well, technically I've got five. I've got
I
four
got
chicken ones, and I've got one turkey one.
I got 4 chicken and 2 turkey.
I've got three chicken ones that I haven't come out of the plastic yet, but I want to. I think I haven't figured out if I can save. I haven't figured out if I can freeze chicken salad or not. Does anybody know if I can freeze that without ruining it?
I
With
don't know why you
mayonnaise,
couldn't.
with
I don't know why you
mayonnaise in it?
couldn't.
You think that mayonnaise will stay?
Yeah,
That mayonnaise won't be a mess when you thaw it out?
I don't think so, John.
Well, it's something I'd have to test. So if any of you guys have any experience freezing and thawing chicken salad, let me know. I'd really like to know if that's feasible because if I make chicken salad, I never make less than what I made here. And when you cook a 4.5 pound chicken or a 5 pound chicken, when you pull the meat and the skin off the bones, you don't end up with as much as you'd think. I'm thinking I end up with a pound and a half of chicken meat, but that's when I add everything else to it. That's still I got 2 pounds of chicken salad, which is more than I can eat before it'll go bad in the refrigerator usually, unless I eat chicken salad every day, which I don't. Uh, but man, it was good, and I'm really impressed with the way that sandwich came out. I've already been thinking I don't I bought that bread at a Food Lion grocery store, and uh, Jeff, this is why I was asking you earlier in the week about where we landed on the ciabatta bread, because I want to try this with ciabatta, and I
Oh,
want to
definitely.
I want to change the way I want to make ciabatta that's shaped like that loaf we just made there. I need to find. I probably need to make ciabatta in a 9 by 13 pan or a 10 by 14 uh, Detroit pan, and then cut it lengthwise down the middle where I can make two of those sandwich loaves like that out of it. But I want to do it with homemade bread, and ciabatta is one of my favorite breads to
Oh,
make sandwiches
absolutely.
on. Yeah.
For sandwich bread, for specialty sandwich bread, nothing better than fresh ciabatta.
So, guys, I really enjoyed that.
Unless you're putting pastrami on it.
I don't see why you couldn't put pastrami on ciabatta. I mean,
Oh, you could, but I like it on rye. I like
ch-
the taste of the rye in it.
well, I agree. I agree, Anurag. And when Jeff and I were doing ciabatta during the pandemic, I
We
cooked it
freeformed
on a
it.
stone. I cooked it on a hearth.
Yep.
I cooked it on that. It's like that 16 by 20 pizza craft stone that I have. I did that, but
Mhm.
if you're going to do that, you have to treat it just like you would anything else. You got to get that stone hot, because oven spring is important when you're doing ciabatta, because ciabatta is a really wet dough. My recipe's 80 or 85% hydration. It's really wet.
Yeah, let's discuss that little factor there. A lot of people don't think that they need to heat up their stone, and if you want a good crisp crunch on your bread, you need to heat that stone up in the oven. And I'm going to say let it go at least 20 minutes after it hits the temperature, so that's really good heat soak. So when you put the
I
bread
don't
on,
know
you're
if
good to
20
go.
is enough. I'm not sure that 20 is enough. Uh, when once my oven, like my oven or my grill or whatever, if I'm targeting, like with that ciabatta, I'm probably going to be running 500 degrees. I'm going to be
Yep.
running hot for that. And once my oven hits 500 degrees with the stone in it, I'm going to give it 45 minutes to an hour.
Well, on your
And
higher temperatures, yes, I
yeah,
totally agree. If you're going 500, you need to give it longer time to really get heat soaked so that you get the
right.
true benefits of using a stone.
If you're
Otherwise, you
using
may as well just put it
infrared,
on an aluminum pan.
like I've got these things laying all over the place. I've got three of these guys right
Mhm.
here. When this guy's telling me that my stone is 500 degrees, when it hits 500, that's only on the outside. That's not
Yep.
on the inside. I need it to be 500 all the way through. So that takes additional time to get it there. And it's uh, it's it's important. It is. So, but anyway, I wanted to take a brief moment to talk about the problem I had with my Camp Chef
Yeah.
this week. Okay, I've never had this problem with any of my previous pellet grills. So I'm cooking. What was I cooking on the Camp Chef earlier this week? I'm trying to remember what I was cooking out there.
I don't remember what it was you were cooking, but you couldn't get the temperature to come up to where you wanted it.
No, I got it where I wanted it, but it was running hot. The I had the Camp Chef set at 350, and it was running at 450 or 475 even. It was running way hotter than it thought it was running. The controller on the Camp Chef, I set it at 350, and it said that I'm running at 350 on the controller, but uh, I'm trying to remember. Tanya, what did I cook out there? My mind's going blank.
Let me take a look.
Pork loin. Did I cook pork loin? I don't remember what I was cooking now, but anyway, but I have an analog thermometer that I keep in that Camp Chef, because I know the Camp Chef normally runs a little hotter than it thinks it's running, but not that much hotter. So I got back into my little chat group here that Jeff's a part of and said, man, I'm having this problem. I said, I don't know what to do. And Mark Ashby pops up and he says, He says, have you cleaned the probe? Have you cleaned the sensor? I said, no. I said, I haven't. I said, and the reason I haven't is because I've never had to do that on any of my other pellet grills. And it turns out, I remember hearing somebody in the Camp Chef group harping on cleaning that sensor. So I said, what the hell? I said, I'll go clean the sensor. And I went to look to see what they're doing, and they're making a 50-50 mixture of water and vinegar to clean that sensor. They said, you want that sensor to be metallic looking. You don't want it to have any buildup on it. So I cleaned it to where it looked like that, and I fired it back up to 350 and put my thermometer back in there, my analog one. And when it got up to 350, I went out there and looked, and that was at like 360. It was right. That particular pellet grill, if that sensor in that grill gets too much crud on it, it's not able to translate the temperature properly. And I knew it was running hot, and because I knew it was running hot, that's why I've got another thermometer in there. But I'm gonna have to.
I've never heard of having to do that.
I haven't, and I've never had to clean the one on the Bark. I've never had to clean the one on the Kamado Joe. I've never had to clean the one on the Traeger or the Yoder. I've never had to do that on any of them. But this one, the Camp Chef needs to have that done. So it's part of the and they recommend it. You know, it's part of their yes, Honor. Was that? Yeah, it is. That's what it was. It was the plum torque. That's where I ran into the problem. So, yeah. Was that this week or was that last week? I don't even remember now. I've done a lot of cooking this week in the short time that I've had to cook. But, yeah, it was the plum torque, because the reason I put the thermometer in there on that is because there's a bunch of sugar in that. And if you're running way hotter than you think you're running, when you've got something that's got a lot of sugar in it, when you turn your back on it and come back, it'll be black. It will be parched. And I didn't want to. I talked about the plum torque. Did I show the plum torque last week? I think I might have. I did.
You did.
I showed the plum torque last week, and while Jeff was playing hooky, Jeff couldn't be with us last week.
Hey, I was on the road, man. I didn't get into the cabin until 11:30, buddy. Now,
Yeah.
I could have chimed in from the car, but it would have been a very dark picture.
Yeah, that's not worth it trying to get in from the car. But yeah, I've had fun, but I really love that Camp Chef. I'm a big fan of that. The combination of the pellet smoker and that Sidekick is something I really enjoy cooking at. Sam, I don't have any reason whatsoever to believe that thermometer that probe needs cleaning on the Kamado Joe.
I've never cleaned mine in the 7 years I've owned it, so.
I pull mine off about once a year and check its calibration in boiling water, and that's about it. Every now and then it'll need a little tweak. And what I find is it's best to do that in the spring. I think the cold weather months, where it's getting colder than it normally does, may cause the calibration to tweak out. And Tar Heel the Bark, it's BARQ. It's Myron Mixon's pellet smokers. They're branded as the Bark, the BARQ.
It's a beast. It's an expensive beast, but it's something that you'll pass down from generation to generation.
And Anurag, we don't have a winner. We're both winners. we get participation trophies here.
Right. That's exactly right. You guys are the winners because we're giving you guys ideas of what you might want to cook. And that's what we enjoy doing.
You got two great ideas for how to make some sandwiches. A sandwich.
Actually, three if you want to consider the fried chicken sandwich.
Yeah. A sandwich doesn't have to be run of the mill. And if you're an avid griller and smoker and outdoor cook like Jeff and I are, you should never have a run-of-the-mill sandwich. All of your sandwiches should be top-notch.
And I mean, the nice thing about a sandwich, doing it out on whatever grill you want, it's better, and it's infinite possibilities as far as what you want to put on it to make it yours.
Well, You can also, when you get bored, when you don't know what you want to cook, but you want to cook sandwich meats, cook things that you can put on a sandwich. Go get one of those boneless. Jeff, what are these turkey breast things that come in a package that are like a tube, but they're turkey breast meat, but they don't have a bone in it?
Right. It's the boneless turkey breast.
Yeah,
It's
you can.
it's
You
the
can
processed meat.
yeah, smoke that guy, slice it up, vacuum seal it,
Mhm.
throw it in the freezer where you've got sandwich meat available when you want it. Or you know, I don't know, that kind of thing you could potentially put on a charcuterie board, even though it's not charcuterie. You can make turkey rolls with.
And what you're saying is absolutely correct. Get some meat that you want. It could be an eye round roast. Eye round makes beautiful roast beef sandwich. And you slice it thin. I mean,
I'm not getting on
oh,
that
it does,
deal.
John. It does, John.
Man, eye around is the turd of the cow, man.
It is the turd of the cow, but I'll tell you what, you smoke that just right, get it a nice
I
medium rare, and you shave that thing newspaper thin,
The
buddy.
problem I have with I have two problems with eye round. Number one, by nature, it's tough. But number two,
Not when you do it thinly sliced.
I don't think it has any flavor. You've got to pump the flavor to that
Oh,
cut.
definitely, yes, absolutely.
Man, I just can't. Eye round might make good jerky, and I might try that next time I make jerky. So,
Well, I'll tell you another thing that you guys need to look at is if you got a Sam's by you, look at those prime rib sliders, and they also have them in the burger patties. That's really good meat. $4.69 a pound. Awesome price.
and when you're talking about price here, Jeff, I'm going to have to throw out this at you, and in the Eye of Round story.
Mhm.
Eye of Round is not that much less expensive than sirloin tip.
Oh, absolutely,
And
absolutely.
I think sirloin tip's going to blow the Eye of Round away in every category,
Just
especially.
depends on. Well, see, you and I, we get our meats from either Sam's or Costco.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I take a look at what do they have and what's the best price, and if they're having a sale on one, that's the one I'll get. And
Yep.
like I say the last eye round I did was great, and to chime in a little bit further on that, Darren's all-purpose black garlic, salt and pepper.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, you want to put some flavor in a sandwich?
Well, speaking of Darren, one of the things that I haven't tried that might be worth trying on Eye of Round is a sous vide cook to see if I
Mhm.
can tenderize it enough to where I'd be happy with it. Because
You ain't gonna tenderize it. You just got to cut it thin. I mean,
it's just
John, let's
chewy,
face it.
man.
An eye round is all muscle.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to tenderize that thing is you either cook the hell out of it and make it so it's pulled meat, or you slice it real thin. If you slice it anything over an eighth of an inch, buddy, you're
Yeah.
going to be chewing on it.
Well, the other thing, it's not only that, the eye of round is an elongated piece,
Hmm.
and the grain runs with that length.
Yep.
Another way you can help with the chew on eye of round is to slice it on the bias.
Yep.
Get a diagonal slice going
Just like you do a London
across.
broil.
It will shorten the length of the muscle fiber as you slice it that way, and it does make it a little easier if you do that than if you go straight down through it. So
Absolutely.
that's one thing to think about. So, but okay, Jeff, we need to figure out from here what our next head to head's going to be. Have you got any thoughts? Have you been thinking about it? I've only had one thought so far.
What's that? Give me your
I
thought.
want to hear yours first.
No, give me your thought. I don't have a
Well,
thought right at the moment.
football season starts today, or in the NFL.
Mhm.
College ball started last weekend. It might be fun to do something that's a game day, a game day fair,
Okay.
tailgating, football watch party, food, finger foods. Anything that would. My thought was anything that would be amazing to serve if you've got a bunch of friends.
I already know what
who
I'm
watch
doing.
the game.
If you want to go that route, I already know what I'm doing.
So, I'm game for that. Do you want to do that for next
Yeah.
week?
Yeah.
Is anybody
I
else
already
got,
know what I'm doing, man. That's fantastic.
has anybody else got any suggestions that Brian, dessert's something I love, and I'm really I love cooking desserts on the grill, and Jeff and I, we will do that, but I
Mhm.
might want to hold that off because I would like to do that maybe in November when we're coming close to Thanksgiving because everybody already knows what they're going to do with their turkey. They're going to do a stuffing, and I think some desserts coming into the holiday season might be fun because I make an ass kicking pumpkin pie. I make an
Oh, I'll
cheesecake.
put Kathy's up against yours any day.
I make a pumpkin cheesecake. I make a fruit cake that's not like any other. And some of those things coming into the holiday season might be fun. And I'm with you, man. A dessert's something I think we could do more than once. I
Yep.
think if Jeff and I decide that we want to go head to head on a dessert challenge, we need to get a little closer. We need to pick a dessert that we want to do, and in that realm, Jeff, I would like to say when we get around to doing dessert, I would say we need to pick something like a pie, a cake, a cheesecake. Uh,
I think a cheesecake on the grill would be fantastic. I think
yeah,
pumpkin pie. I did the pumpkin pies on the Kamado,
yep.
and man, I'll tell you what, those were good. They came out beautiful.
Well, I've roasted pumpkins on the Kamado that I've turned into pumpkin puree that I've used in
Mhm.
other things. I've roasted the pumpkin seeds. I've got video. I've done videos on that already. So yeah, Jeff's got a video. Jeff, I need to show Jeff the pumpkins that we've got laying in our yard. We've got pie pumpkins growing in 5 different places in our
Now,
yard.
wait. What do you consider pie pumpkins? Are you using
Tanya,
sugar babies?
what is it? What do we have, Tanya? I don't even know.
Well, we actually have two types of pumpkins. One of the first ones is kind of just your everyday jack o' lantern style pumpkin. It'll make good pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
But with the other, we got an heirloom variety pumpkin that allegedly, supposedly makes the best pumpkin pie on the planet.
Well, I'm told that the sugar babies.
I don't remember.
Sugar
I don't
babies.
know I don't know the name of the variety that we have. All I know is that Tanya turned her dad loose with the seeds, and every bed that we have in the yard right now has got pumpkins growing in it.
Cool.
So, look at them. Aren't they beauty?
What does that say on the package, Tanya?
That's what I was trying to
That's
read.
the
Baker
Baker Creek heirloom seeds that we
Now,
got.
Jeff, I have garlic ordered. Tanya and I are going to grow garlic this coming.
Okay.
We're going to put garlic in the ground this fall, and we've got 2 varieties of garlic on the way from
It
another
says
company.
Well, I think one of our
Johnson.
desserts needs to be a pumpkin pie bake-off.
Okay, well let's do pumpkin pie, but not this week.
No.
Let's save that.
I like the game day food. Finger food. Game day finger food.
Jeff.
Now, are
let's
we going to do one or
pumpkin
two?
pie. Well, do as many as you want. I don't know how many I'll have time to do, but
I think I'm going to do one.
I might could pull 2 off. We'll see. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do first. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet. You already know what you're going to do, but I don't. I haven't. I've done a lot of game day things in the past, and I'm gonna figure. I've got to figure out if I'm going to rehash one of those or if I'm going to try something new.
I might do two because I do them at the same time.
One of my favorite things is one of the first couple of things I ever did when I first got into barbecue. When I first got into barbecue, the Atomic Buffalo Turds were the thing. That was what everybody was doing. And Anthony, I don't see why sliders wouldn't work. I've seen some cool stuff done with sliders, especially using those Hawaiian rolls. Jeff, you know those
Yeah.
Hawaiian rolls that come in the 12 pack?
Yep, that's what I did on those prime rib ones. Put them
Yeah,
on those. What I did was I sliced the Hawaiian, left the thing
yeah,
whole, sliced it, put a
yeah,
little butter on it, and put it on the griddle.
yeah. I've seen some cool stuff done with that.
Brown
So
that. Ooh,
sliders,
baby.
nothing wrong with sliders. That might be a good idea. Man, Jeff, how about Cuban sliders? That wouldn't be that hard to
No,
do.
I'm making Cubanos.
Cubano sliders.
No, not sliders, Cubanos. Cuban
Yeah.
cigars.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't done that one yet. I've seen it.
Oh,
And
baby.
one of the things that's been so popular here lately is those shotgun shells. And
Yeah.
I tried that, and man, that's a mess. That's a
Oh, yeah.
hot mess right there.
Yeah.
I don't
Sloppy
care.
Joes. I've got a homemade recipe for Sloppy Joes that is.
Yeah.
I would. It's the recipe that I've been eating since I was probably 3 or 4 years old.
Tanya,
And it's
do I make
probably
sloppy
older than that.
joes?
John makes very good sloppy joes, but I will tell the both of you just hang it up now because there's only one sloppy joe that will reign supreme, and it's my mom's.
Well,
Tanya,
All right,
you
we
dropped
have
the
a
gauntlet,
question up
darling.
here
We'll
that I
take
put
you
up
for it.
3 times that you guys have like totally not answered. So tell Ryan about this turkey tenderloin stuff.
okay, I've been seeing turkey tenderloins lately. Been thinking about trying one out. Uh, well, Ryan,
I've cooked
I'm
them.
not. I'm not sure if I know. Jeff, is that the same thing on a turkey that it is on a chicken?
Yep.
It's just bigger. Okay,
Yep.
so it's a piece. It's a piece that comes from underneath the breast down low.
Mhm.
Okay.
When you look at that breast, that little circle that's in there, that's
Yeah.
that tenderloin as you cut it, and you can buy those, and that's great. That's great cooking right there.
So Ryan's asking what would be something cool to do with that. Is one tenderloin too big for a single serving thing, Jeff?
Uh,
I've not cooked
well,
this
it depends
before.
on if you're putting it on a sub roll. If you're putting it on a sub roll, then it's probably just about right.
I don't know, Ryan. I'm out of your league on that. I don't know. I've not cooked turkey tenderloins. Turkey's not something I spend a lot of time with. This week I did do some smoked turkey legs, some of the Disney style turkey legs this week. So, and Anurag, I have done armadillo eggs before. That's something else that's fun to do. But uh, I've got something in mind that I haven't done for the game day thing that I might try to do, and I'll go ahead and give you a heads up on it. I would like to possibly experiment with smoked deviled eggs, uh, having the
Well, that'd be good.
smoked hard boiled eggs. I've seen that done before, and I've never done it, but I think it could be really cool. That's something I might try to do next week. Uh, there's a lot of things. I've done a lot of things that fall into the game day category. And Jeff, one of the things that you and I did not touch on during the pandemic when we were doing our bread thing that would be perfect for this time of year and perfect for game day. Not only do we have football season here and game day stuff, but Oktoberfest theme is coming up, and
Yeah.
pretzels, different things with pretzels are happening this time of year. So there's that. I did this video a really long time ago on the Man Cave Meals channel that was a pretzel wrapped brat that was off the hook. My video quality sucks because it was early on in my video career and the presentation wasn't all that great, but man, it tasted good. That could be something that could happen again. But pretzels, one of the things that Tanya and I like, there's a pizza. That's a Mellow Mushroom. I guess is Mellow Mushroom a nationwide chain, Tanya?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys have been to Mellow Mushroom, they have these pretzel bites and the spicy beer cheese. That would be
That's
off
good
the hook
stuff.
that'd be off the hook for game day. And I can show you how to make that. It's not hard to do. making pretzel dough is just like making a simple flour, salt, water, and yeast dough. And all you do is you get that dough where you want it, and you give it a quick bath in water that's got baking soda in it, and
Yep.
you take it back out, give it a little egg wash, and throw it in the oven, and it browns up, and you get this beautiful the flavor of the pretzel flavor comes on the outside of the skin that you get from that base of the base flavor you get from the baking soda bath. It's really cool. And so game day, Jeff, we're going to go for game day. One or two things, one or two, or however many you want. If you want to do 10 things, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm not doing 10 things.
I'm going to pick one for sure and maybe two. It depends. I'm going to have to think about it over the weekend while I'm working and figure out. But I might want to try to, I don't know. I'm thinking about if I had my friends over for a football game, I'm not sure that deviled eggs are what my friends would go for. They might like it. It might be good, but I don't know. We'll figure something out. I've got another idea that I would probably I've got another idea for game day. Jeez, and this another simple thing. I don't know. What am I hearing here?
I'm not sure.
Oh well. Anyway. So, if I missed any questions I need to answer, Tanya, have we got anything
No,
lingering?
I think we finally got that one that was.
Well, I posted my my sloppy Joe recipe in the Man Cave group
Okay.
under this thing, and for some
I
reason
made
under this
sloppy
one
Joe.
here I can't post the picture of it, so it is what it is.
I've made sloppy joes a lot of different ways, and one of the things that Tanya hasn't caught on to yet that I'm not 100% sure of is Tanya, the transcendental chili, is that what you call it? Is
Yes.
not that far off from a sloppy
It's
joe.
divine chili, John.
Divine chili. Okay.
Transcendental pimento cheese.
Okay. I can't remember which one's which, but the I like my idea of great sloppy joes and Tanya's idea of great sloppy joes. There's a gap. I like certain things that she doesn't like, and vice versa. But when I make sloppy joes, I always make enough to make 4 or 5 meals out of at least. Levi egg rolls is something that I've thought long and hard about, and I was just telling Tanya not long ago I want to learn to do some egg rolls, but I don't want to do traditional Chinese egg rolls. I would like to do egg rolls that have things that I had an egg roll somewhere. Tanya was with me, and I don't remember where we were, but Tanya, where did I have the Reuben egg roll that had pastrami and sauerkraut in it? Where did we get that?
We got that down at the ramen place that no longer exists in
In
Mooresville.
Charlotte or
No, in Mooresville.
Mooresville? Okay, there was an egg roll that had pastrami, Jeff. It had it had the same things in it that a Reuben had, and that would be an amazing game day thing. Would
Yep.
do a mini egg roll with that in it: pastrami, sauerkraut, a little bit of Swiss cheese, and maybe a squeeze of Thousand Island dressing. You know.
Well, then now you're talking more of a Reuben than a pastrami.
Well, that's what I'm
A
talking
Reuben
about.
egg roll.
Exactly. That's what it was. It had everything in it that a Reuben had in it. But
So anyway, my sloppy Joe recipe's sitting up there. If anybody wants to try it. It's easy and it's good.
so there's other things, Tanya, that I think would be fun game days where we could incorporate barbecue in it. One of the things Tanya and I like are fried wontons at some of the Chinese restaurants we hit. And that wonton wrapper doesn't have to have sweetened cream cheese in it. It could have all kinds of things in it. It could have it could have ground beef in it with it could be made a cheeseburger fried wonton. You could put ground beef in it with a dab of ketchup, mustard, and some cheddar cheese, and turn
And
it
I'll tell
into.
you, that's good, John.
Yes, it would be, and it doesn't have to have. It could
I
have. It
made
could have. It could have the deconstructed Reuben parts in it. It could have pastrami, sauerkraut, Thousand Island dressing, and turn it into a fried wonton.
I
There's
made apple pies.
As
okay.
wontons, that would
Yeah,
work.
Yeah, it could have apple pie filling in it. It could have cherry pie filling in it. A wonton wrapper is an amazing tool.
Mhm.
There's so many things that you can do with a wonton wrapper. You
Yep.
could do the same. You could do the same sort of things with a egg roll wrapper,
Mhm.
or puff pastry. You can do it with puff pastry. There's puff pastry is an amazing tool for stuff like that. Uh, I don't know, man. Those possibilities are really unlimited.
So,
You can make
yeah, go ahead.
you could there's no limit to what you can stuff inside of wonton wrappers, egg roll wrappers, or puff pastry.
Yep.
And the thing about puff pastry is easy to bring up in the oven. I don't know
Yep.
how well wonton wrappers and egg roll wrappers do without deep frying it. I have not. I have no experience with wonton wrappers and egg roll wrappers not being deep fried. But puff pastry, uh, you could throw it on the grill or in the oven at 400 degrees or whatever, and it's going to come up. It's going to do its thing. So
Yeah.
the key to that is figuring out how thin you want to roll the puff pastry out. You don't want to have a mouthful of puff pastry dough and not much of your filling. You got
Definitely.
you may have to roll that puff pastry dough out a little thinner to do stuff like this, but you could make a wonton from puff pastry that would be an oven cooked version of it, or a ravioli. You know,
Mm.
just saying. My wheels are turning now that I'm
Absolutely.
thinking about dumpling type things and filling pastries or other wraps with other things. You could do it with a flour tortilla, a corn tortilla. There's I don't know, man. I got to stop
Infinite
thinking about.
possibilities there.
My head's gonna explode thinking about all the different things we can do with those.
So
So,
anybody who tries that recipe, my recipe for sloppy joes, if you like it, shoot me back an email so you like it. If you don't, you tell me too. I mean, it's not for
Jeff,
everybody.
Jeff, shoot me that recipe and I'll post it on
It's
the
in
Man Cave Meals page.
it's in
he's
the
already got it
comments
up
there.
there. Yeah.
Okay, I'll post it
It's
out on the Man Cave Meals page where it can get seen there as well.
I say that was my great grandmother's recipe, so that tells
The
you how old it
the
is.
sloppy Joe would make a good wonton, or a good egg
Yeah.
roll bite, or there's no
Well, there's so
limit.
much you can do there, John. I mean, you can put just
Yeah,
about anything in an egg roll bite. I mean, the possibilities there are endless.
right.
And I like the one there about the pork belly and the Hawaiian rolls. Oh, that's off the hook. You can do
Pork
pork
belly.
belly in the wontons or the egg
I've
rolls.
I've
That's
got to buy. They've got pork belly at the grocery store up the street from me right now, and I need to get some because I do not have any in the freezer.
yeah. I need to do
Top,
another pork belly. I'm out of. I used my last of my bacon here this week, so I need to do
right.
another one.
Okay. So, all right. So next week we're gonna go head to head with game day stuff,
Yep.
and keep the desserts thing. I want to do that, but I want to save that for a little bit
Yeah.
later.
Let's save that for around Thanksgiving.
Yep.
But yeah, yeah. I'll be here for Thanksgiving Day. I'll be here. Then I'm going on a cruise. So
And the other thing that Levi's not telling you guys about Albuquerque, besides being the fact where Bugs always takes the wrong turn, Bugs Bunny that is, um, you know,
I thought that was the Road Runner.
Nah, Bugs done it. He always would
Why,
bring it
why,
up and said, "Oh, I knew I should have went right at Albuquerque or right at Albuquerque." Anyway, What I remember about Levi, and I remember, I remember stuff about you guys, but what I remember about him was this pickle beer that they have that we've had many conversations about. So show Albuquerque and Levi some love.
The solar eclipse, Tony. I haven't gone
Hi,
back
Mom.
to look at that yet.
And
Yeah.
here is the world's best mother-in-law.
Hey, Mom, you're up late. Well, maybe not. It's only 10 o'clock. We're
It's only
running
10
late
o'clock.
as we always do. So,
We might as well just tell everybody it's from 8:30 to 10, John. I mean, that's what it historically has been
well,
running.
I try to be finished with everything that's serious within the hour, where people
Yeah.
that don't want to hang around can bail out, and that's typically where we are. But I'm excited about the game day project.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to have a look into that. The I've been experimenting with the cheese dip thing with that. What's that stuff I bought, Tanya? What's it called? Uh,
He was kind of vague there, wasn't he, Tanya? It's like,
Which
hey,
day?
Jeff,
what's it called?
Jeff, you need to look into this. This is
Okay.
sodium citrate.
Okay.
This stuff is magic when it comes to melting cheese. You mix.
Oh, that stuff.
Yes, you can take any kind of cheese. You know how some cheeses melt nicely and others don't? This will make any cheese melt nicely. You
Oh, yeah?
mix you mix a certain amount of sodium citrate with a certain amount of liquid, such as beer or
Mhm.
bourbon or whatever, and add the cheese to it, and you get a perfectly meltable runny cheese sauce in the process. And
Cool.
I've played with this and I've posted some about it, but uh, you can make this is what you need to make a truly good cheese sauce, a good cheese dip with
Well,
whatever
speaking
cheese.
of that, yeah, that was getting me thinking that on the Cuban cigars, I'm thinking I might want a cheese sauce to dip them in.
Or to
Something
drizzle
spicy.
over the top of it.
Right.
This, cheddar cheese does not melt nicely. It's
No.
stringy and runny and oily.
And
This
oily,
turns
yeah.
cheddar cheese, yeah. This makes cheddar cheese melt, and it's beautiful. Uh, I bought that on Amazon, and it's part of this modernist pantry stuff, and so I'll post more about this later. I'll make a cheese sauce project on the Man Cave Meals page using this because I think that's something that everybody needs to be aware of and what it's capable of doing. So, and this package, I don't remember what I paid for this, but there's enough in this package. This package has 14 ounces in it. That's enough to make about 700 gallons of cheese sauce because it doesn't
Only
take much.
700 gallons?
It doesn't take much.
Dang, man, you got ripped off. It's only 700 gallons, John.
Yeah. Ryan, you have a good evening. Glad you could make it with us. So we'll have. So Ryan's heard about the sodium citrate as well. I've experimented with it and I've posted a little bit about it on Man Cave Meals, but I haven't really dug into it yet. But maybe it might find its way into whatever I do for game day. If I would decide to do pretzel bites with a spicy beer cheese dip, that very well might find its way into it.
I'm thinking about doing my food this next week on Thursday so I can sit here and I can be eating it while we're talking.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this cheese sauce, when you make a cheese sauce with this, you can put your leftovers in the refrigerator and reheat it, and it comes back just to the same creamy consistency it was before. So, yeah.
I'm thinking about making something with maybe a pepper jack sauce.
Yeah.
Pepper jack cheese sauce to dip the Cuban cigars in.
Well, I've got ghost peppers out there. I've got jalapeno peppers out there. I've got habaneros and I've got cayennes. So we'll see what I'm thinking I might do something with pretzels because I don't know. I really shouldn't because I know my audience. My audience hates making doughs of any kind. They want to buy doughs. They don't want to make
You
homemade
know,
doughs.
and that's such a shame because there is so much satisfaction in getting your hands into that dough
I
and
can't
and
convince people of that, Jeff.
and kneading it and making it feel the love, and then you put it in the oven
can't,
and you watch your creation grow, and
I
you
can't
go,
make people believe that. I cannot. I've tried.
maybe
I,
we need to go back to doing the our Cinnabon rolls. I
well,
mean,
I
who
can't make
doesn't like
people
a
understand.
Cinnabon cinnamon roll?
If you want a challenge, you need to try breads because barbecue's easy compared to breads.
Yeah.
Bread is a real challenge, and there's a real communion with having your hands on the dough.
Hmm.
And Jeff and I, that's one of the things that we did during the pandemic. We spent, I don't know, we spent 6 months
Yep.
making various breads and perfecting techniques with it. And when you, this is where the art and the science of cooking come together because one or the other's not enough.
Yep. I will say without a doubt, John, and I think you'll agree with this, our focaccia
Mhm.
is out of this world.
Oh
It
yeah.
is
There's some
off
really
the
good
hook.
stuff.
Oh, Jeff, did you see what I posted the other day? What I got from a friend through Tanya?
Mm-mm.
I have Wisconsin brick cheese in the
Oh, yes,
refrigerator.
I saw that. Yes, I saw that.
So next week, I'm hoping to get a an authentic Detroit pizza going because I
Cool.
have Wisconsin brick cheese and I've got a pound of it in the refrigerator. One of Tanya's coworkers lives, or he's got fam. Is he got fam? He's got family up there.
Yeah, you said he had family up there, and you got it
Yeah,
too.
Yep.
and he
Have you
shows up.
had real Wisconsin cheese curds?
Uh,
Man,
I
that's
don't
to
know.
die for.
I
Real
can get
Wisconsin.
cheese curds.
Right.
We,
I mean, we went to Wisconsin and we watched them make them, and we bought them right there. Oh my God, that's
Tanya and I buy
addicting,
cheese
buddy.
curds. There's a cheese maker an hour and a half north of us up in Ashe County, and we buy cheese curds there. And I didn't know what cheese curds really were until
Oh,
I
it's
researched it.
fun watching them do it. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
all
an
it
art.
is it's cheddar cheese that's not been aged yet.
Yep.
It's fresh cheddar. Is exactly what curds are.
Yep.
So
Getting rid of all
And
the
when
whey,
I
and you got
think
the
about
curds.
cheese curds,
yeah,
I think about poutine. Oh, I would
poutine.
love to have
Oh
Yes,
some.
yeah.
Tanya and
But you
I.
know, poutine goes in opposite ends of the spectrum. You can either have some really good poutine, or you can have some poutine that you go,
Well, here's the deal with
Hmm.
poutine. Yeah. Hey, Russ. Look, Russ is with us tonight. I've seen Russ make poutine before. It's been a while, but he's made it. But poutine, the quality of the poutine, in my opinion, is not resting on the cheese curds or on the gravy you make, but it's how good your fries are.
absolutely,
The fries have to
absolutely.
be off the hook to have good poutine.
If your fries are soggy,
You got to have good fries, or the poutine's never going to be good. We bought poutine somewhere in Canada, and it wasn't all that great. When
It
Tanya
wasn't
and I went,
bad.
it wasn't
I mean,
bad, but it wasn't great either. We bought poutine at some place. I don't remember what it was, but it was up in Niagara Falls when Tanya and I were there, and it just wasn't great.
and that's what I'm saying. It's either I don't think there's any in between. It's
Yeah,
either really good or it's like, all right, what did I just eat?
yeah. But I know I've seen Russ make it before.
Oh, breaded deep fried cheese curds. Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
When you bite
Tanya,
into it, and you do one of these.
the fried cheese appetizers that we get around here are made with cheese curds. Where have we got? Where do we get that? Oh, it's Zaxby's. Friggin' Zaxby's has that.
Yeah, they get
Everybody's
pretty good
got
cheese
Zaxby's.
curds.
They have fried cheese as an appetizer at Zaxby's that's made from curds. Yeah. So I know we've bought those. Zaxby's is one of the places. during the pandemic when Tanya and I wanted to eat out, all these restaurants that were closed, if they had drive-through service, Tanya and I were hitting them occasionally. And Zaxby's is one of the places that kept their drive-throughs open during the pandemic. So those fried cheese curds ended up here about once a week for a while.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
good. I mean, they're addicting. It's almost like a Lay's potato chip, but you can't eat just one.
Anurag, I'm with you, man. I've learned, I don't know why, but I think a lot of cheeses are a perfect companion to a glass of
Mhm.
bourbon. And like last week during the live stream, I was nibbling on Comte while I was having the bourbon. And Comte is a really nice French version of a good Swiss cheese. I'm not going to say that it's better than something like Emmentaler, but man, it's good. It's really good. Mars cheese and Kenosha. Let me show
That's
you
in
what I got.
Wisconsin. I have bookmarked that.
So here's what I got. This
Me too.
Widmer
Mm-hmm.
Widmer
That's
cheese
good stuff.
cellars. Widmer cheese. This is Wisconsin mild brick cheese, authentic cellar ripened. It says a rich, creamy cheese, great for melting, made from pasteurized milk, cheese cultures, salt, enzymes, and annatto. That's ANNATTO
hmm
color.
That's what gives it the yellow color.
Yep. So
Yep.
I don't know. This particular cheese is supposedly, very very well known. And let's see, it's 13.99 a pound at the shop. I'm guessing Dan went to the Widmer cheese shop, right?
hmm
So, yep, 13.99 a pound. But I'm going to find out if that place. Tanya, did we ever look to see if Widmer sells online? Because
Yeah, we
I ha-
did.
I have never made. I've made lots of Detroit pizzas, but I have never made a Detroit pizza with Wisconsin brick cheese before, and now I have it. So I was going to try to get that on the agenda next week. We'll see if it happens or not. It should. And Tanya's friend there that hooked us up with that, I'm very appreciative. So
I've bookmarked the side on the rog. Thank you.
Comte, get Pleasant Ridge Reserve from Wisconsin. Anurag, the thing that I'm concerned about with American-made Comte, I'm sorry, most of these cheeses, there's a big divide between cheeses that are made in Europe and cheeses that are made here when it comes to the milk. All the cheeses that I found that are made in the USA are made with pasteurized milk. Most of the cheeses that are made in Europe are made with raw cow's milk or raw goat's milk, and they don't. Some of those same European companies are selling product in the United States, and the product that they sell in the U.S. is made with pasteurized milk rather than raw milk. And I've I, I don't know if it's just me or maybe if it's in my mind, but the cheeses that are made with the raw milk have this richness to them that I don't find in the cheeses that are
Absolutely.
made with pasteurized milk. And it may be in my mind and it may not. I don't know. But this
And,
Comte
and
that
I agree with you there, John. The raw milk. When I was over in Germany and whatnot, we were getting a lot of the raw milk cheeses, and uh, the depth of flavor is just
it that Comte
it's
that
so
I
much
have,
better.
the Comte that I have that I'm able to buy here sometimes is one of the very few European cheeses that I can find here that's made with raw milk. Gouda is another example. Real Gouda that's made in Holland is made with raw cow's milk, but all of the Gouda that I find here in the U.S., even if it's imported from Holland, is made with pasteurized milk. So okay, Anurag, that's what it is then. I knew there was something about it, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. But
Honey,
yep,
I bookmarked the cheese page
okay.
just because, I'm sitting here looking at it and we got to get some of that.
Let's have a look at it because, and maybe we need to visit that place in Charlotte again and see what they've got because
Okay.
we bought Comte from that shop, that specialty
Hmm.
shop in Charlotte, and I don't remember what brand that was. I don't remember whose cheese that was, but it was excellent. I do know
Yeah.
that.
Well, this cheese on
And
this page, mm.
And I'm not sure that it's illegal,
no,
but
it is illegal to import soft cheeses made with raw milk. Hard cheeses you can import.
this Comte that I buy, I am buying it here, and it is raw cow's milk, and
Mhm.
it's got the DOP designator on it. It's a French cheese. It's it's a French version of Swiss cheese. Is all I could say about it. It's
And I don't know what the big hiccup is on importing a raw milk soft cheese. I don't comprehend it, but I
well,
mean it is what it
I
is.
don't I don't do a lot with soft cheeses. I do owe Honorog kudos for introducing me to the fact that I really do like some soft cheeses when he introduced me to the Robiola.
Oh God, that is yes,
Ah,
absolutely, man. He turned
yeah,
us on to a that is
right.
good cheese.
And fortunately, I don't remember the name of the place right off the top of my head, but there's a cheesemaker here in North Carolina that makes a Robiola that's really good. Tanya and I bought some of it, and but when the first time when I met Honorog, he brought Robiola and he brought some 25-year-old balsamic vinegar, and we were getting a little bit of the Robiola on a cracker and then putting a drop of this 25-year-old balsamic vinegar on top of it and landing somewhere close to heaven is all I can say.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. That stuff was
Yeah,
off
it's
the hook.
crazy. It was really good, and Tanya and I found Robiola at was it the Fresh Market, Tanya, or was it Whole Foods from the North Carolina Robiola?
Mm.
It was one or the other because it was up
Yeah, I
there
don't
up in
remember
the
which
mountains.
one that was.
But
Yeah, for
Robiola's
those of
hard
you who
to
haven't
find.
tried that, if you can find it around, you need to give it a whirl. I think you'll
Yeah.
that with some 25-year-old balsamic. Oh my,
And if you
that
can't
the
get the
sweetness.
25-year-old balsamic, the 18-year-old balsamic's pretty
18
good
years.
too.
Yep.
Most of these specialty oil and vinegar places have this, and it's not that expensive. I've got
The,
uh, I've got a bottle of both that I did not pay a fortune for. So
the
Fresh Market,
25
yeah,
year old is so good you can put it on ice cream.
Yeah, he says it's
yeah,
boxcar.
and you don't want to cook with your 18 and 25-year-old balsamics. That's a
No,
finishing vinegar. So it's
absolutely.
something that you drizzle on something that's already done. Drizzle it on salads or whatever else, but you do not cook with that.
And it is
So
great on tuna.
thanks, Tar Heel. Glad you could join us tonight. We'll be back next week. I'm ready to wrap up too because
They
I'm
may
going.
still be going next week. There may be another shut off.
No, we're going to wrap up. So, guys, I
Yeah.
appreciate you hanging out with us. I'll come back next week where Jeff and I we're going to go head to head on game day stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I've been thinking about it this week, and I thought about suggesting it because it is football season, and I know a lot of you guys like to have something up your sleeve for that Super Bowl party. So we may sometime between now and the end of December we may have a second game day thing. We may do that
Yeah.
twice, Jeff, because I think that's a project that's worth talking about more than once. Because I know,
Absolutely, because there is so much you can make for game
yeah,
day
I know there's
fingertips and
people.
whatnot.
I know people don't typically have game day parties throughout the football season, but I know we're going to have Super Bowl parties and we're going to
Yep.
have BCS Bowl parties.
Yep.
So yeah, y'all have a good week, and until next week, Keep those fires hot.
Absolutely.
Taco